If you've been struggling to manifest, if things are not coming to you as easily as you know they could, I guarantee you that your subconscious mind is controlling your reality instead of you controlling it. The fastest way to manifest is not by adding more things, but about uncovering the belief systems that are controlling you right now. That's when everything changes. And that's what you'll learn in this video. The first step that we need to touch upon is to redefine what control really means. Because my guess is you might think that control is forcing, that control is holding really tight to this outcome that you need to push, force, or grind to. But that's not really what control means. Control really means understanding. Control really means awareness. And until you don't become aware of the system of survival that's actually controlling all of your manifestations and reality, then you cannot control it. And that's what this video is all about. So we don't force more affirmations and meditations on our subconscious mind. We decode what beliefs are there, so we remove it. If we try to just add more layers on top of things, it's like you're trying to fill a bucket of water that has a hole. And of course, you can add as much water and strategies and mindset work and manifestation techniques, but your bucket of water will keep on leaking and will go back to empty. That's what happens when you don't address the root cause of the manifestations, which is the survival system that's actually controlling your subconscious mind. So now that you understand what control really means, I'm going to shine light into an ecosystem that you've probably never heard about before because I accidentally discovered it through my own experience. Because I wanted to understand, why does this pattern in money, health, or relationships keeps on showing up even when I've done years of profound inner work, integration, and mastery. And this is how I discovered the subconscious survival ecosystem. I've discovered that when we are children, there is a pain that is so deep that we create a protective system all around that pain so that we never experience it again. Because when it happened, our intelligence is so powerful that it believed that that was an existential level threat to our survival. Yeah. And when that happened, we built out not only patterns to protect us from that, but we built identity structures. We built nervous system conditionings. We built core emotional drivers all around this wound, all around this grief that we don't want to experience again. So imagine this, right? This is the entire ecosystem mapped out. The core grief is the heart. And I'm going to give you an example to explain how this really works, because this is understanding true control of subconscious and manifestations. Let's say, for example, that when I was young, I experienced a lot of financial losses. My nervous system, my subconscious, started to identify money as an existential level threat. So now in the present day, if you feel like you try to chase money, that you try to chase your manifestations, but it almost seems like they're running away from you, it's because you might be protecting yourself from receiving and holding on to money, from receiving and holding on to love. Because in your subconscious operating system, that is identified as a threat. Okay. So that's where the core wound, where the heart of this whole system begins. And that wounding can be really about powerlessness, about unworthiness. Those are the deepest wounds that we carry as human beings. So if I experience a financial loss and that made me feel powerless again and again and again, then I'm going to develop this grief and this core wounding that I am powerless because I experienced this financial loss. And If I now say I'm powerless because I lost this money, then money is unsafe. And I'm not going to want to hold on to money and manifest more money because on the deepest level is a threat to me. Yeah. So when I have that core wounding, this is in a way the mental beliefs that we create is I have to work hard to be worthy, right? The identity structure is I'm always struggling, or I'm the hard worker, or I'm the over responsible one. And then when it comes to the pattern that you see at the surface, this is where it all starts, by the way. You might identify, for example, maybe a pattern of overworking. Like, what's your definition of control? Imagine your survival strategy when you were younger. What was that pattern that you used to keep yourself safe? In my case, it was a pattern of overworking. It was a pattern of proving myself to my dad so that I could receive love, safety, and money. So now, even that I don't live with my dad any longer, I discovered that this pattern of overworking was connected to this entire subconscious survival ecosystem. And it wasn't about the pattern of overworking. It wasn't about the mental beliefs of I am a hard worker and this is how I prove my worth. It was way deeper because on a deeper level, I had a fear of not being in control. And on the deepest level, my emotional wound was I don't want to feel powerless. And I will do anything that I can to never feel that again. So look at how insane. I want you to have light bulb moments because the reason why I or you may overwork is doesn't have to do anything about that. It's because on the deepest level, my intelligence, my survival equation was so powerful that it said, well, if I overwork, then I'm in control. And if I'm in control, then I am safe. And when I'm in control, I cannot feel powerless. Do you see how it's this entire puzzle that is so fascinating, so exciting to bring to our awareness? Because when we know what we need to rise out of, that is the only step that we need. This awareness is how you start controlling your subconscious and your reality. And truly the fastest way to manifest is this, is understanding what's your survival equation. And I'm going to lead you in a moment into a really cool exercise so that you understand what's your core wounding, what's the mental beliefs, what's the pattern that continues to show up so that you get so much clarity that it evolves into freedom. Because once you know what your survival system is, you can use your free will, your conscious power to no longer continue to be stuck in the programming. That is true power, my friend. So we don't need to guess what our subconscious beliefs are. We just look at what keeps showing up in our life because our external world is simply a reflection of this internal system, which is really, really interesting. Now, the reason why patterns feel so hard to break free is because they're stuck to the nervous system as well. The pattern of overworking is not just happening randomly. My nervous system was wired to fight. So you have fight, flight, or freeze, or fun. And if my nervous system was wired to fight, you bet that I'm going to overwork, burn out, and put my own health and well being in the back burner because survival comes first. And to overwork is to survive. And that's my nervous system response that I identified in the past. So I started to change it consciously. And now that you understand a bit more about what can be running in the background, I want to prove to you or show you how your subconscious mechanism shapes your reality. Because before I can guide you into the exercise to go deep and to give yourself grace and honor that grief and that core wound, you need to understand why we're doing this. And the reason why we're doing this is because your subconscious is truly your operating system that creates your manifestations. This is something that's incredible. All right. There's something called perception filtering. There are 11 million bits of information available every moment, and consciously, you can only hold on to about 40 bits in your conscious awareness. On the invisible plane, your subconscious is deciding everything that you perceive. You literally cannot see opportunities that contradict your subconscious beliefs, because the other 10 or 11 million bits of information that are available are being processed unconsciously and automatically by your subconscious mind. What dictates the way in which your subconscious mind perceives things? Well, it all depends on what is your survival system, right? Because if money equals unsafety, you're not going to be manifesting money and holding on to it, my friend. This is the real root cause. So your identity is your subconscious mind. Your identity creates your vibrational signature, the way you think, feel, and act. Your nervous system, your cells, even your DNA align with this subconscious reality, and your frequency determines the reality that you pull to yourself. And if you have an identity of survival instead of creation, then you will continue to manifest these things that will mirror your beliefs. So when you hear this old quote that says, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right. Why? Because it all depends on what you are believing. Your money, your manifestations, your love, your happiness is not random. It's what you are believing inside, what's controlling you. Because what's controlling you will control your reality, and you need to break free. You need to take back control. So now that you understand how your subconscious creates reality, how your survival system is controlling your subconscious, then we can go into the exercise so we can shift your survival system. So step number 1 is identifying your manifestation block. You can take a journal if you want and take notes. And I want you to think of what area of your life feels the most resistant to change. I'm going to use the example of money. And if I'm trying everything, if money feels hard, if I feel like it's really hard to make and keep money, that's an area where we need to look within and understand what part of my subconscious equation and survival programming is controlling my money and my cash flow. All right. So write that down, identify where you want to focus. And I'm assuming you have done this. You can pause the video. Now we're going to find a pattern. Okay. This is like your core pattern that is protecting you from the deepest wound. We're going to get there. But before, I want you to think of the pattern. So you can close your eyes, think about money, think about this area of manifestation, and just study the chapters of your life, like the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years. What is that one pattern that continues to show up when it comes to money? Are you able to make it, but then you lose it? Do you make certain amounts of money, but then that income ceiling takes you back? You break through temporarily, but you're back. What is it? What's that one pattern that's really there? You might think it's sabotaging you, but it's actually protecting you from feeling the core wounding. So that's the shift that I want you to have. You're not wrong. You're not broken. Your subconscious mind is not bad. It's simply trying to protect you, and you're going to learn how to take back control. So I'm going to give you a moment of silence. Really think deeply about this pattern. Okay. And it usually comes really fast. Is that pattern that is on the surface? All right. How does it play out? Here's another example that's really good. Every time you start to get ahead financially, an unexpected expense wipes out your progress, right? Or a client doesn't re-sign, whatever it might be. Find your pattern, write it down, and then we're going to connect it to the core wound. So you can pause the video if you need to. We're now focusing on step 3, the core wound. All right. This is how it works. I need you to ask yourself, what is this pattern trying to protect me from? Really think about your core survival equation. What does safety represent for you? Is it control? Is it people pleasing? Is it running away? What was your survival equation when you were growing up? To give you an example, mine was control equals safety. Take a moment of silence, pause the video if you need to. What is that survival equation? Okay. So now come back. As you write that down or feel it with your eyes closed, we need to connect that core survival system or equation with the core wound. And you need to understand, okay, this whole system, what is it really protecting me from? What's the core wounding? Is it powerlessness? Is it unworthiness? Is it abandonment? At the deepest level, it always comes back to a couple of those. And once you get your core wound, everything will start to click because you will understand that everything that you've been trying to do in your reality and what you want to manifest is trying to keep this wound without being touched. It's trying to keep you in survival instead of creation, right? So what past pain might have created this pattern or this core wound? An example of this is if your subconscious learned that money brings instability and stress, then it will block abundance to keep you safe. Pause the video, spend as much time as you need to, and press play when you're ready. So I'm assuming you have now found your core wound. It usually comes intuitively. You can sit down after, but we're going to go into step number 4, which is to feel the freedom of identifying and being gentle with this core wound. With your eyes closed, I want you to imagine yourself as that young kid, that girl, that boy, where you experienced that maybe through your parents, through your friends, but that experience that maybe is really emotionally charged with your wounding, the powerlessness, the unworthiness, the abandonment. And you're going to imagine that you're being surrounded by a great ball of white light all around you. And you're going to go back to that scene as your highest self. And you're going to see in the eyes, that kid, that child, and you're going to see through their eyes maybe a little bit of pain and fear. Maybe they're confused, maybe they're afraid, and they're asking for you to be there with them. They're asking for your presence. They're asking for your love. And as you're sitting there, I want you to be love. I want you to be that presence that they need, because there's a need that you need that is creating this entire system. What is it that you need? To grieve, to really sit with yourself and cry and feel emotions and witness all of these suppressed feelings from the past be released. This can be a core need of grieving the innocence that was lost. What was lost from your authenticity and your childlike nature when you had to prioritize survival and safety? That's the question that you need to answer, because that will bring up all of the emotions. Okay? So I want you to just become aware of that. And you're going to do that after the video, because it will take you more time. You need to spend a lot of time in silence. I'm giving you the steps of how to do this. So once you're ready and you have an idea of that, that's going to bring you so much freedom. And I want you to finish that visualization with seeing beyond the fear of the eyes of that child and go deeper into their soul, into their eternity, into their sacredness. And what's on the other side of that need? What's on the other side of that core wound of powerlessness, of unworthiness? Witness that revelation coming to you now, because it will be joy, it will be love, it will be laugh, joy, authenticity, presence, peace, connection. Yes, all of those things, receive them now and see this child smile and see this entire room be filled with the greatest light of purification. And you're literally changing and rewriting your past. You're changing and rewriting a little bit of this incredible system so that you can manifest and control your reality. To notice how this awareness alone creates space, how this mapping of this subconscious survival system allows you to have freedom. Because then when it comes up, when that programming comes up again, visualize yourself choosing differently, leading yourself from the identity of your true self, which has all the power, love, and wisdom that you could ever desire. Feel the difference between being controlled by this pattern or this system versus you being in control of it, you using your conscious, limitless power to decode and rewire this entire survival ecosystem. And you can open your eyes and come back to full presence. You've made it. And this is the biggest takeaway that I want you to take home from this one video. When you control your subconscious mind, you control reality. Okay? And until you understand what's controlling your subconscious, you cannot control your reality. But now you do, and you've learned a roadmap and a revelation that most people never even discover in their entire life. Let's rejoice in this freedom and this awareness and start to map out a little bit more your subconscious survival system, because it has changed everything for me. It really, really has. And now I'm getting to choose and will a new reality. The fastest way to your manifestations is not by adding more things, but remember that it's about removing the beliefs and the survival programming that's controlling your reality. Because once we become aware and we start shifting just by being, by awareness, this is what happens. Reality becomes easy. Success becomes easy. Abundance, money becomes easy, because you're no longer trying to reject the money, the love that is not really unsafe. It's all our relationship, our perception of those things. So money, love, health, purpose, and connection are not bad things or good things. They're not safe or unsafe. They just are. And through this awareness, you can control and shift the relationship you have with these manifestations that you want, and you can start to attract them to you. Because here's the greatest truth. The peace, the love, the money, the abundance, the connection that you want is not something that you find. It's something that you are right now. And that is heaven. And that is how we enter the kingdom of God within ourselves. Seek first the kingdom of God in heaven, and all the things will be added unto you. It's been a pleasure to have you today. Thank you for your presence. If you want to go deeper, there's going to be a link in the description if you just want more support, more guidance, more personalization to help you break through these survival patterns and manifest like a freaking master. Much love. I'll see you on the next one.